John Felix Anthony Cena Jr., better known to the pro wrestling and the mainstream world as John Cena, will be wrestling in his 1,555th match in what is scheduled to be his final match in the WWE and in professional wrestling as he takes on Gunther, a man who about a week ago became the number one contender, winning the last time is now tournament to earn this shot in Washington, D.C., in front of what is expected to be about 19,000 people at Saturday night's main event. We can talk a little about John Cena's career overall. I don't want to make this, a tribute show to John Cena as much as I want to just talk about the event and things leading around it, right? This John Cena hasn't passed away. We can maybe make his Hall of Fame show a tribute show, but there are a lot of interesting things to talk about just heading into this event. First up, I want to talk about the rumor is that this match is going to lead off the show this Saturday. As the first match at 8 o'clock when they hit the air on Peacock. What do you make of that? Because I say, to me, not a fan. Like, listen, if there's a reason at the end of the show, great. But the problem is a lot of people may not know and may not be there at the end of the show to see why this match is what led off. Because this is why everyone's buying the tickets. This is the show. And I'll put it this way. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, right? Their big boxing match they had like 6 months or a year ago, right? Yeah. Everyone on Netflix, it broke Netflix, right? When they had this fight. If that led off the card, how many people do you think are watching the matches after that? I mean, and that's what this is.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue in one aspect, which is actually now a moot point, but essentially they might worry about the whole Goldberg thing. Remember when Goldberg had his final match? And then they cut it off. But this time, it's not on network television. It's on Peacock. So there's no excuse here. So, like, when I first saw it, I'm like, well, they're worried about Goldberg. But wait, how can they be worried about the Goldberg thing when it's literally on Peacock and it's not even on channel, our local channel 3 NBC here in Syracuse? To me, it's very weird because what's going to happen? Are we going to have the match is going to finish, Cena's going to, walk away, and then what are we going to see? The stands empty? I don't know if that's going to be a good look.
I don't think anyone's going to leave at the arena, right, per se, because they spend a lot of money. I think when you go to an event, right, this isn't like boxing. This isn't just the Tom Brady's and the Michael Jordans of the world just showing up to be seen at this event, right?
So do you think people stick around for the main event, which is
I think if people go, well, first off, AEW shows, right, the Dynamites, the Collisions, they go real long, and there's dark matches, and people leave at that point. But I don't think anyone that's a WWE fan, because you go to a WWE event, like I said, this isn't like boxing. This isn't like that. This is WWE. So when you pay to go to an event, you might leave early if it's a long event, and we're into the dark match realm, but you're not leaving early after match one. You're not spending I wouldn't even say anyone's spending $100 even to go in there to watch a match and leave at 8:30. That's not a thing in WWE. Like, you don't just go for the first half an hour.
I can see High Rollers doing it because they have the money. They don't care.
But I don't really know. Again, WWE events are a little bit different. The people that are going to this are maybe there's a Macaulay Culkin in there. Sure. But I think the people who go to WWE events overall are staying because, first off, it's not even going to be that long of a show. It's a 2-hour show.
True.
And yes, it is a one-match show.
Last though, why not save it for last? That would make
I think that is what should be done because 100%. Not just the idea that this match shouldn't go on first because people might tune off on television. That's where I think people might tune off. I don't think it would leave. I think they might tune off on TV. But the reason I think this also should be the last match is because you need to be using this 2 hours essentially as the build-up. Now, I know we've built up for it. We get the point. But I just think, this show is John Cena's last match. So I think if he wins or loses, whatever it is, if he's off the card at 8:30, 8:45 Eastern time, I mean, what are we doing? I guess then we're just back to Saturday night's main event, because the last matches now thing goes away because that's over with. That's done. Now we're moving on.
Do you think they want to see I wonder if WWE's strategy behind it is I think we all have a good feeling. I know we'll make our predictions in a little bit, but it kind of makes me feel like it's a foregone conclusion that Gunther's going to win. And then by the end of the night, they're going to have a good moment so fans go home happy.
Again, though, I guess the thing is, though, you want fans, and that's why what's great with WWE is, fans kind of expect and know. That's why when the credits come on, they don't necessarily leave right away. It's kind of that thing. So I guess how are you going to assure fans who are watching on television, forget the fans in person, that are watching on TV, that after John Cena's match is over, he's like going to come back out or something like that? How are you going to assure that there is that, right? Because we don't know. We might think that they're doing this and they're just going to go off the air with Cody Rhodes and Obafemi, which would be a great match. But,
Yeah, great match.
I don't necessarily need to watch it live kind of thing. Maybe I can watch it later.
Do you think there's a possibility where they do this? This is more we talk about it. They could start to show that way with Cena, Gunther, and then run the rest of the card, and then at the end of the match for Obafemi and Cody Rhodes, assuming that's the final match of the night. Maybe at the end of the match, there's a moment with Cody Rhodes and Obafemi, and then hey, we want to bring out John Cena, blah blah blah. Maybe do something like that. I don't know.
I guess you just have to advertise that John Cena is making another. Don't.
Maybe they will stick around because we got something special for John coming up. Maybe, who knows?
I guess I just don't understand if that's the point. Then just have.
I know.
I mean, Goldberg's match against Gunther was the main event, right? It was the final match of the night. I think it's kind of funny that we were talking about. Obviously, it's on Peacock, so we don't have those restrictions. That John Cena's final match is essentially on WWE's least watched platform left. Now, not saying that Peacock is the CW, right? It's probably a little better than that. But at the start of the year, you have NBC Saturday Night's Main Event. You have Netflix for Raw, right? You have ESPN, their little app that a lot of people have now for PLEs. So you have these other avenues. And I would say if you were to rank Peacock, which a lot of people have a lot of streaming services. If you were to rank Peacock where in the most households, in front of the most eyeballs, it's probably near the bottom, with Netflix being something that I think if you want to talk he's on a streaming service. John Cena's last match is on a streaming service. I can tell you Netflix would be your number one streaming only service that most people
100%.
have over Peacock. I would say even things maybe like HBO Max might be higher than that even. Obviously, they're not on that, but I'm just saying in the ranking realm, ESPN, because like we've talked about, a lot of people can get it for free with the ESPN service, and obviously NBC. And yeah, obviously a lot of people were watching Saturday Night's Main Event on Peacock before when it was on NBC, but I guess the idea that like it was also on NBC, and I know that we're in a world of days where people can find it, there's no issue. But again, people are going to find it versus people are going to it's going to be put in front of them like if it was on NBC, I guess, is the best way to put it. So I think it's kind of strange. We all know why it's on Peacock, and a lot of people might say otherwise. WWE speech about why Saturday Night's Main Event, is only on Peacock, and I can tell you why it's on Peacock, because WWE cut their deal short early with Peacock and the PLEs, not from a number of PLEs perspective, but a time perspective, right? And that's why Peacock feels slighted and NBC feels slighted that this happened. So essentially, they're putting these Saturday Night Main Events on Peacock because they're like, hey, well, you know what? We know that a lot of our subscribers are here only for the WWE, and you're telling us that you're pulling the WWE rug out from under us, like Crown Jewel or Survivor Series are not going to be on Peacock. Well, we better make sure that we don't lose any of these WWE subscribers. So good news, they created a PLE because this weekend is a PLE. It's a Peacock exclusive event that I have to pay a monthly subscription for Peacock to watch. So that's essentially NBC saying, hey, you want to take the Survivor Series away from us? You want to tell people that are WWE fans you no longer have to pay for Peacock to watch a premium live event that they cannot miss? Well, good news. We're going to create a premium live event that they cannot miss and make sure we get their $9.99 a month or whatever it is. That's this event, right? Because it was on NBC.
It's a smart move on their part for NBC and all that, because why not make some money before everybody cancels it?
Yeah, I know we've had that discussion. What's a PLE? It's kind of a silly name because of the fact that you could call this a PLE. This is a PLE, right?
It's a
WWE exclusive event that I have to pay a subscription fee for to watch on a service. So it's a PLE. That's what this weekend is. It's a PLE. I would say it's obviously also,
it's a PLE at the old WWE network cost, approximately.
Yeah, it's a PLE, and at the and it's going to be obviously be shorter. It's a little bit shorter of an event. It's
Yes.
not the 3 hour, but it's a PLE nonetheless, right? You can't tell me that there's really any difference just because it's called Saturday Night's Main Event, and you're used to that in the past being a free event. Well, in 1988, you were used to the Royal Rumble being on the USA Network. Now you're used to that being a pay per view. So essentially, Saturday Night's Main Event is the December PLE. We didn't have one for a couple years, but we got one now. It's called Saturday Night's Main Event. It's a pay per view PLE now. You're paying to watch it. So there you go. Unless you got a VPN, you can watch it on YouTube for free, which is kind of another thing in the shows that this is obviously not on their main platforms, right? If this was on Netflix, I think it would be in front of more eyeballs, but nonetheless, that's a NBC WWE issue going on. But back to John Cena. Obviously, we talked about this, being the first match, not a thing that I'm rooting for. But now we got some rumors out there that this one may not be John Cena's last match overall, and we may have a surprise appearance from The Rock. What do you make of all of this?
I don't think it's happening. The Rock chatter just doesn't make sense. I mean, maybe he shows up to shake his hand and then say, "Hey, thanks for all you did and all the times we've had in WWE." I don't think they're going to set up a match. I think it'll be more The Rock just kind of paying his respects to the goat, the goat of WWE and sports entertainment, which is John Cena. Yeah, I don't make anything of it. I think when you watch it Saturday night, that's the last time you're going to see John Cena wrestling in a ring. That doesn't mean he's not going to show up in a tele-attendance for a show at a future date. That means he's not going to wrestle after Saturday night.
I think if he was to wrestle after Saturday night, like that's just that like that meme where you throw the paper in the air and you're just like, forget it. Because it's just like you can't, that is literally screwing the fans, right? I'd love to see John Cena wrestle again.
John's not going to do that. I don't see that because John's all about the fans. And if he's saying he's doing something, I would take that to the bank. It doesn't mean he doesn't come back and do something like on the microphone or just
absolutely.
like talk to somebody.
I guess, and again, too, this isn't a Ric Flair retirement. Ric Flair didn't spend one full year saying, no, 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 no. I'm not The Undertaker. I'm done. I'm not Hulk Hogan. I'm done. He did not literally go on ESPN, Chris Van Fleet, Netflix, every service, every platform, everywhere, and literally just scream from the mountaintops, I'm not. No, this is the last time. This is it. Now, I don't care what anyone says. You're not going to pay me to go to Saudi Arabia. I'm not going. This is it. This is it. This is it. So to tell then the 18,000 fans that have literally paid a premium price for this one match, right? They paid for this match. They're going to get a full WWE show because it's good on WWE to do that. But this is really around one match is what drew them to pay. Because let me tell you, Saturday's main event in Montreal in January, tickets aren't $300 to get in the door right now, right? And the reason is because John Cena's last match is here. So this isn't even a Goldberg retirement, right? Or a Sting retirement where they say this is my last match.
This is
right?
a very anticipated show.
He has spent more time talking about how that he will not wrestle after this as he has saying this is his last match. Ric Flair never mentioned on the road that he was going to really stick to it. He just said, that's my last match. Never saying, I mean it, I mean it, I mean it. Like just saying that's my last match. So if John Cena said, yeah, this is my last year, then maybe, but he didn't say this is my last year. He said this is my last year and I mean it, like over and over again. So I think it would be really a disservice to everybody.
And he's not going to. Don't I wouldn't get discouraged because it's not going to happen. If John Cena says one thing,
I guess, Bully Ray was talking about, Washington, D.C. Saturday's main event. Is that really where John Cena goes out? I think,
Well, I appreciate Bully's. I appreciate Bully's, his insight and expertise on the business and what he's done for the business. But I think he's got to sit that one out. I don't see it happening. Cena's done in an active wrestling in a wrestling ring after this weekend. That's it.
John Cena, as we mentioned, 1,554 matches, 177 pay-per-views. I guess I see that stat without going into all the
never
numbers.
Seen 17.
Are you calling the PLEs? I guess you're calling them pay-per-views too, right? Because I know we were just talking 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
How about how
it's all the same.
that right there has changed. He is 11-6 at WrestleMania. Imagine, as we just talked, that should stay the same. I didn't realize it was WrestleMania 33. He picked up his 10th win and made himself 10
and
and
six. That's
3.
good. That's a good stat at WrestleMania. That's a playoff team right there in the NFL.
He's 11-6. He picked up his 10th win at WrestleMania 33 in 2017. He was 10-3 at the time. He didn't pick up his 11th win until this year. Briefly, what are some of your favorite John Cena? They don't obviously have to be the best. He was never known as, the greatest technical wrestler.
Yeah, the 5 moves of doom
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah.
But what are just a few of your favorite moments, matches in John Cena history?
I mean, he was a moment maker, wasn't he? I mean, he just had so many great moments. I mean, the obvious low-hanging fruit is the 2008 Royal Rumble when he made the return. That to me will always be like the biggest moment and hit like the best moment, in my opinion, and the greatest moment of John Cena's career, because nobody expected him back. He came back from a torn pec in half the time that a normal human being like takes, and he beat Triple H. He took Triple H out. He was number 30, beat Triple H, won the match, and it was at the Garden. Obviously, that's WWE's unofficial. They can call MSG and say, "Hey, I want to put a show on there." They're not going. They're always going to get the gig there. It's just the way it is. Their relationship and MSG and Dolan and all that. It's a beautiful thing. So those combinations, greatest moment. I took the time to think about really. I know we were going to talk about Cena on the pod. This episode, and I got a few matches that I thought about, and actually there's a lot of great opponents here. You could have gone Edge. Edge is one of his better opponents, but for me, there's 3 guys, and then my final match, which I think is the best match. I'm going to start off with 3 guys that actually, are some of my favorite wrestlers of all time. AJ Styles, a contemporary. I mean, there was a great match in Royal Rumble 2017, and then SummerSlam 2016. So, like in that,
his match against AJ Styles this year, I think, was that and Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, his 2 best matches of the year for sure. No doubt. And I think obviously the AJ Styles one, I think, is number 1. Brian
Danielson, great match back in 2013. I mean, you could also, who could forget the random Raw in February of 2013 with CM Punk? Like that was a classic Cena match. But I'm going to give you one that no one really talks about. I don't think, at least I haven't seen it. It was a match with the late great Umaga, and that was back in 2007 at the Royal Rumble, so the year prior to the infamous moment at MSG. And there was that point in time where he almost like John Cena was like Roman Reigns before Roman Reigns. Like people were just sick of him, and he was just like to me, I felt like at that point as a fan of his, it was almost like he's too goody two shoes in a way. Like he's just like a super face and this and that. And like that match in Umaga, like he got his ass kicked. Like that was a rough and tough match. And I think that showed the fans like, hey, don't forget, John Cena's still a badass dude. And kudos to the late great Umaga for making him look like $1 million in that match. To me, underrated match in my book, and one of my personal favorites of John Cena's career that a lot of people don't talk about.
I think along the way, early on in his career, when he just became champion, he had some, and it might have even been right before he became champion, like 2004, 2000. I think it was 2005. It was right after he won the championship. He had a match with JBL on pay-per-view. I remember it was like Judgment Day, where he like the bloodiest match definitely of his career. You can go see the photos. I mean, his face is just covered in blood. A crazy match he had there, like at a Judgment Day event. And I think it was like 1 year removed from JBL having a similar match against Eddie Guerrero, which was really good. But that match right there against JBL right after he won the championship, really big. In 2007, I went to WrestleMania 23, but it was a few weeks later, the rematch between Shawn Michaels and John Cena. I don't think it was for the title, but it was in London on a Monday Night Raw that went to like 1 hour length. That was
Did Shawn hit the sweet chin and win that match?
I think Shawn won that match. I don't think, like I said, I might not have been for the title. That's why probably Shawn won. But it was like a rematch. I remember it was not too long after they were the tag champs going into WrestleMania together. John Cena and Shawn Michaels was tag champs facing off against each other.
How crazy is that to think?
Originally was supposed to be Triple H versus John Cena in a rematch from the previous year's WrestleMania. Triple H got hurt right around the Royal Rumble time, so Shawn Michaels with his DX uniform taking on John Cena that year. Obviously, the Rumble in 2008 was a really big moment. CM Punk, Summer of Punk. You can't have the Summer of Punk without John Cena there in 2011. And also one of them you kind of mentioned, right, with Edge, right, at SummerSlam, and then the month later in Toronto at Unforgiven, both against Edge as they were going back and forth.
Unforgiven, I think, was the better match.
Yeah, the TLC match they had at Unforgiven, they were going back and forth with the belt. I think it was Edge won in Boston, and then it was John Cena who won in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, right? They were going back and forth with the belt.
That's the perfect way to do it. Perfect way to do it.
So that was a really good time. Like I said, I think, this year, I know we had a great match with AJ Styles like at the Rumble, I think in like 2016 or 17. AJ Styles match this year, I think was great at Crown Jewel in Australia. And I think the match, better than obviously the WrestleMania match this year against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, I think was a great match. I'm hoping that a Saturday Night's Main Event this week, it's a good match. It's not just something quick. Gunther on this road to face John Cena hasn't went less than 15 minutes in any of these tournament matches, including going about 19 minutes with Solo Sikoa in the semifinals. So I'm hoping this is a really good match. I don't think Gunther, if he loses anything, because again, I think this is should be about John Cena. It should be matches that are entertaining, but then in between the matches, we have vignettes and all this stuff talking about John Cena and the fan reactions and all the WWE wrestlers. This should just be, like I said, a John Cena tribute show, really. Should be like a house show.
Thing, though. It's a win-win for Gunther because if he wins, he's already pretty much a made man, but that makes him
what a year for Gunther,
more of a made man after this.
Either way, he's going to be in Goldberg's final match and John Cena's final match. He's won the championship this year after losing the championship. So he's had himself a pretty good year overall, and obviously facing those two legends. It's too bad people like The Undertaker are still around. He can retire him. But enough people have done that already, I think. But yeah, John Cena, I'm excited. This is his last match. Why it's in Washington, D.C. I know John Cena's, the politician for the WWE. He's not going to speak bad about it. It's here because obviously the same reason anything else is anywhere. It'd be in Boston if they paid enough money for it. John Cena originally, I don't know if you saw this in one of his recent interviews, said he was willing to do 200 dates this year under the old WWE calendar because he wanted this to be a full WWE John Cena last tour, just like he would when he was full time. So the plan wasn't for him to have this as his final year, but to be still part time. It was to be full time. But the WWE said, we really don't do house shows anymore. We really don't need you for, every single date like that. We're still going to keep it kind of special. So that was WWE's idea to keep it to like the 36 dates.
Speaking of, on this topic of John Cena and everything, what are your thoughts on a potential Vince McMahon appearance at Saturday Night's Main Event? I mean, him and Vince are obviously very close friends. Do you see that, and do you think WWE acknowledges that he's there? Or too soon?
I don't think there's ever like a too soon. I think it'll always be too soon because whenever it happens, it's going to be like a wow, it happened. Even if it's in like 5 years, right? I don't want really anything. If the idea is this to be the big John Cena show, right? A lot of people are always talking about WWE. You have to have what's next, right? I think this show can be, especially because it's around Christmas time. It reminds me of those Tribute to the Troop shows that weren't about what's next. We're about leading into Raw. We're about keeping fans on the edge of their seat like the Survivor Series with the Mystery Man. We don't have to have this. This can be a house show. This can be Tribute to the Troops. This can be...
You know what I was thinking too?
All eyes on John Cena, and nothing about it has to essentially roll over to the future. And I think a Vince McMahon appearance, maybe if he's in the crowd or he's up in the nosebleed, you show him and you just put on the crowd for a second. But if he like comes out to the ring to shake hands,
I don't think
that again takes the attention off.
I think he'll just be there. And speaking of figures that we won't go down that this next part this rabbit hole anytime soon. But we are in D.C. for Saturday Night's Main Event, and there is a certain president who, has had his dealings with WWE over the years, and also is very well connected with the McMahon family, Triple H, Stephanie, obviously Vince. Could you see President Trump in the arena for Saturday Night's Main Event? Do you think that happens?
I could, but again, I would think from like a press box luxury suite
Maybe he waves to the
perspective,
crowd and
especially too. I would say, especially too. I mean, I know it really doesn't make a difference if you're a active president or old president because you still have that kind of like Secret Service with you. But
yeah,
I guess, just from the perspective of,
the
you don't,
logistics.
whenever the active president is somewhere, you have to have all of that other, everyone who's walking in the door to the event is checked extra, that kind of thing. So I guess, you know what I mean? You, again, don't want to take the attention off. You can, show him on the jumbo screen if he's there, those kind of
I'm
things.
just curious
I will say
because I know he's a
WWE.
fan. I know he's a fan.
I know WWE, as we've seen, right? They're the one place who is very tone deaf, right? Because we see this with the Saudi Arabia stuff in the sense of they'll put anything on the screen. I was at SummerSlam and they put up on the screen the whole initiative that they did with Donald Trump over the summer when it comes to the physical fitness agility test that they're bringing back. And obviously, 70,000 people were like booing the screen and things like that. And obviously being like, well, why are we bringing politics into wrestling? It's polarizing, that kind of thing. WWE doesn't care. So if he is there, they definitely will show him. They don't care what the reaction is because obviously they
Well,
put up
we already,
how
I mean,
their WrestleMania is going into Riyadh season,
it's
right?
dude, it's well known. Triple H, the McMahon family is,
Yes,
they're very friendly with President Trump, and regardless of the reaction, that
they'll
I
do it.
see him there. And by the way, I don't. Speaking of reading the room, maybe a little bit off. Remember Hulk Hogan's last appearance? He got booed out of there because he was in an area where his style and his support for Trump didn't obviously go over so well. So I'm kind of curious. But the most important thing is it's John Cena's last match. I'm very
Yes.
excited to see it, and I can't wait to break it down next week.
Yes, I mean, again, all of those people there, right? I mean, it'd be interesting, right? A luxury suite, you got Vince McMahon,
Oh
you got
yeah,
Donald Trump in it. But again, you know what I mean? And nothing, I guess, essentially that you come to the ring and shake hands or that takes attention away. Maybe show it like again, not during his match
a
itself,
quick thing.
like earlier. That's why John Cena's match to my eyes should be the finale because leading up to the match, you can show these things. You can
You
show
can
the
hype
people
it up.
walking
Hey,
into the
President Trump's
arenas.
here.
Yeah, they show the people walking into the arena, those kind of things. I'm excited
Celebrities.
to watch it this Saturday night. Again, like I said, it's a PLE,
Yeah.
and it's WWE's essential last biggest show of the years. So John Cena, his last match in pro wrestling this Saturday night.